Hi, and welcome to the podcast. My co-host will be joining me shortly if we can figure this out. All right, now try to refresh the page and see if you can go in. All right, yeah, there we are. That should be it. Um, yeah, first click allow, and then we can go into selecting the correct one. Because down by the mute button at the bottom of the page, there should be a drop-down menu that should allow you to select the microphone that you wish to use.
Okay.
So, yeah, that little arrow. What is it showing?
It's not showing anything. Please use a mic or blah blah blah. Okay. Now the mic is plugged in.
Is it plugged into the computer, right?
Yes, it's plugged into the computer via USB cable.
All right, go to the computer settings and attempt to select as the system output, select the Scarlett.
Okay, so microphone, microphone. Okay, so let me just say, go to settings, type in. What should I type in here then? Just microphone.
Yeah, you could try that for sure.
Okay, setup, microphone setup.
Well, I mean, maybe, but I'm not really familiar with Windows so much right now. But
Set up your mic for speak recognition. Blah, blah,
that's the internal mic, most likely.
blah. Okay, let me go back. uh,
What you want more is like sound or like input output type stuff. Um,
uh,
Sound settings is perfect, or microphone settings.
Microphone and privacy settings. Okay.
Oh, that's probably just authorizations for what app can use. Uh,
Uh,
you know what I mean?
oh, right. Okay, so let's go to system then. System, input, output, sound devices,
Yeah.
speakers. Okay, so it says that the Scarlett is my microphone, right? Is that
Okay. Yeah. Let me put on the headphones and speak a little bit. Let me hear what it sounds like on that side of things. Go ahead.
okay? Let me set my phone down here. uh, Testing one.
Uh,
Let me do this first. Let me put my AirPods in on my phone so we can make sure that it's not coming from the call.
it's not. It's not. Um, we may have been loud as shit this whole ass time, but that's all right. It's perfect. Keep talking some more.
Uh, all right, hold on. Let me get my setup a little better because I have everything turned all the way up. Okay.
No, I think we're really good, bro.
Okay. Okay. So I'm gonna put this in the back of the laptop. So right now I have the gain all the way up. Testing one. Uh,
Yeah.
Testing one. And
Dude,
the
I
air.
think I think we're doing excellent. Yeah, I mean, when I had the headphones on, I'm just listening to your call, but I can hear your voice loud and clear through the monitoring app that's directly connected to that's not connected to the call at all. but is only connected to the Roadcaster because I'm doing it differently now. Now I've got in my ear the AirPod that's only connected to your phone. We're doing the call that way, and the Roadcaster is set up separately. So, yeah, we're recording good, and the levels look good on the site, and yeah, it looks good.
All right. So let me finish my setup here then. Okay. It would be nice to have this mic on a stand.
You're home, sir. Come on.
Yeah, you know old people don't text after 7 o'clock. Okay. We got that. We got this.
I told Reddit to stop sending me notifications. They need to fuck directly off. Oh, hey, Callie. Well, I'm on a FaceTime call, and this beautiful Callie is just looking very healthy and very happy at the moment. What a beautiful kitty. Yeah, yeah. Take care, number one. Yes, I sent Ariel an invitation. They can also send you that same link. It'll work. Join up however you want. Number one. All right. So, where are we with the starting procedure here, sir?
So, I have a question. My headset has that little USB adapter, this thing here. If I was to hook this up to the laptop, I should be able to hear you from the podcast app or from the computer, essentially, maybe.
Do you want to do that, or do you want to use your AirPods?
Well, see, if I'm using my AirPods, I could also hook these up to the computer, uh, so that we don't have to have the phone call. Wait a minute. So in the podcast thing, you can hear me, but I can't hear you from that. I'm hearing you from the call. That's what I'm saying.
Well,
I
yeah,
can't hear
but
you from the
that I mean that doesn't because I'm doing the same thing. I mean, I can hear you either way, but I'm choosing to not listen on the podcast side of things because that feedback, like it's just difficult to like hear my voice in that way and then
Okay.
talk normally. So it's easier for me just to have the call in my ear, monitor the levels visually, and we're all good there. You know what I mean? I hear you just fine.
Okay, so let me finish my setup here, and then we should be able to get started.
I can't hear you worth a shit right now, though, for some reason.
Because I'm on these AirPods here are shite, sir. They're
Okay,
better
yeah.
than
So let's
listening.
try to do them the other way then, like you said.
So yeah, let me see. First,
Just mute yourself on the call so we can still have a visual element. I'll do that as well.
Peyton didn't. Okay. Let's see.
Okay. Uh, talk to me a little bit on the uh, mic.
Testing 1 2 1
Oh
2.
yeah, perfect.
Okay. So what I'm gonna try to do is
Yeah, just set it straight up.
so she's flat right there. Let me see. She's flat right there. But hold on. Let me get my. Okay, let me turn this volume down.
Try plugging that dandy in there.
Oh, you mean the headset?
Yeah, try plugging the headset into the computer.
All right, wait a second. Okay. No,
I
they
was
only
gonna try to make that the microphone. Just letting
right.
you know.
I muted that. I muted that mic. Can you still hear me?
I'm listening to you off the Podbean.
Okay. Can you hear me off the pod beam?
Oh yeah, big time. Perfect.
Okay.
Loud and clear, dude. I've got the volume on the call turned all the way down. The only way I'm using the call is for you to hear me right now.
Okay. Let me see. Oh, that's what I'm hearing you through my the AirPod. Okay.
Yeah, go ahead and mute yourself on the FaceTime and see that I can still hear you.
Okay. Can you hear me?
Oh, perfectly, sir.
Okay. I can hear you in my ears here.
And does the computer still say it's using the Scarlet app?
Yes. I just selected. It switched to the. It did switch to the headset, but I switched it back.
Perfect. Yeah, give me a volume test. Just speak normally.
Okay. Let me get into a sitting position here. resting position, rather.
I'm getting a lot of PS4 noise, but I can hear you very clearly.
Yeah. That will be solved in a second. Let's see. Here, let me just do this. I'm gonna turn the TV volume all the way down. Okay, can you hear me clearly?
Hmm. Turn your sensitivity down just one little notch.
On the Focusrite?
Yeah, just like one little tiny bit, a little bit more. All right, now say something.
Testing 1, 2.
Crank it back up, all the way back up.
1, 2.
Crank it.
Okay.
Yeah,
Uh,
because it didn't get rid of that slight bit of noise. I don't think it's going to be problematic, and it may even be coming from my side of things.
okay.
Yeah, I think we're good, dude. Because honestly, I can still run it through where it'll, take some of that out. All right, I want to to 17 or 16:45 here. I'll start us out. Is that okay?
Yeah, well, give me. I need a few more minutes, bro.
Yes, sir.
I need to get my set up right.
It's going to record this whole thing so we can play. I just think we ought to, once we do get settled in, pick like a time where we're all right. This is down to business type deal.
Yeah.
Right now we're just shooting the shit. I'd love to get on here. That it is an absolute fucking pleasure to be able to carve out this time with you. I know it's been a few weeks since we posted an episode, but I'm very excited to get started, dude. Exactly where we left off, and only get maybe half as high as I did last time. I think
Mhm.
we're gonna do a very good job this evening, dude. Or at the very least, have a lot of fun.
Agreed, sir. Let me just see.
I just want to say now that your volume, you can hear me clearly?
Yes.
Yeah, I think your volume's going to be just fine without angling it just right. So feel free to be a little more lax there.
Yeah, I want to get this set up to where I could be comfortable, moving, moving around and what have you. Let's see. That there. Okay.
I did ask Sebastian and Ariel if they might like to join later, just because I think they may have a few things to say on from the human services side of things on some of the topics, especially the budget cuts and the kind of the rip and roll through that is currently taking place with all that Doge shit. I think they may have an informed perspective there.
Certainly. Oh, that's perfect. I mean, that's gonna be perfect there. Okay, so let me just bring that back up.
Let me run through a little bit of the agenda today, and just tell me if anything reaches the place for you where we need to discuss it further before we get into it. Uh, we're going to cover a lot of that political and socioeconomic shit at the top. Uh, then go into a little bit more of the social commentary, esoteric side of things, a little bit metaphysical, what have you. a little bit spiritual after that, and then move towards hanging out, playing Fortnite, talking about music and personal opinions, shit like that.
I think that's a great place to start, dude. I don't know if you got the chance to look into that thing I mentioned yesterday. I haven't I haven't got the chance myself to research it well, but what I understand is that order, which would allow federal segregation, is a part of the DEI shit that the president wants to get rid of. So I don't know where you're at on that. Because I haven't, people haven't made a lot of noise about it. I don't think people think that's going to be a real thing. But I do think there are some people who certainly would be open to it on both sides. Oh fuck, my phone just died on the call. I'm gonna get that back on the charge here.
Yeah, get it on charge, rejoin the call. I'll leave the call open because, yeah, um, would like to have. It's just nice to have a little bit of a visual for me personally, but
Okay. One. A lot of moving parts here, dude.
well, once we crack the code, and I think we're almost there, then it's cracked, like we talked about. We do
Yeah,
all this shit. We don't have to do it over and over and over again. We know the system, dude.
exactly.
Modify it as necessary, dude.
Yeah, I don't even know why I never thought of this idea. I mean, it
Well,
came
I
up when I
pay.
was doing some. I was looking for some of those online jobs, and Nika was like, "Just use my computer," and I was like, because she mostly uses her computer for like gaming and stuff like that, and so I didn't want to, I wanted her to have her privacy on that front to be able to, have her computer and not be concerned about anything. And but she was very, very open.
Well, because she loves you, dude. It don't matter, figure it out, and you're not going to abuse the privilege, dude. That's the way of the road, sir. Number one.
Wow. Okay. I got the phone back on charge. Phone's back on charge.
Oh, a little bit of low end while we're getting shit figured out.
Nice touch, dude.
Shit.
Sounds
Stand
good.
by, motherfuckers. A little bit of elevator shite.
Oh, good elevator music, man.
God, I'm going to prep me up a dab while I'm waiting on you to settle in, sir. It's no problem. As we know.
Yes, sir. I gotta get my wood twisted up as well.
Number
Got my
one.
Toaster is
Fuck,
nice
dude.
touch,
My desk is starting to look like your place, dude. I got my comb, I got my bowl, I got my fucking coffee mug and candle. I got a goddamn. Oh, dude, my shit. I'm starting to line my shit up like a full grown ass man. It's pretty nice. Not that it hasn't been that way before, but a motherfucker moves around a lot. It's just the way of the road.
Well, I think it's therapeutic, right? To be able to have, a nice space where you can relax, get shit done. You know what I mean? And then also, hang out with some friends, play some games and shit. I think that makes it all the better. Oh, the power of the search.
Dude, what a beautiful day to be alive, sir. I mean, shit, what did I do today? I woke up alive, baby. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely, man. The optimism of life itself, dude. It's like, it ain't all good, but it ain't all bad. We're here.
I think the rub is it's worth getting through the bad to get to the good. It's actually worth it. Though the road be long, sir.
Yeah, one on the length of the road. Yeah. Okay.
I'm going to rip a fat ass dab to the song "Spirit of the Rose." This is what you call what is it, DAMCA or DMCA compliant music. Well, let it ride.
Let it rip, sir. Oh, perfect, dude. Perfection. It's coming together, my brother. It's coming together quite nice. Okay. So now for the real test.
What's the real test?
Actually, the light was a nice touch.
Oh, now we're off to flying to infinity. This is pretty good, dude. I like a little simple fucking lo-fi, whatever, soft jazz, fusion shit. I'm into it, dude.
I was asking Nicky Nice about some music, and he's like, I haven't been listening to music with words at all. Just high vibration shit.
Oh, yeah? He says he listens to it all. Is that what you said?
He was listening to music without words lately.
Oh, yeah. There's a lot to be said for that, dude. I mean, because I think that the less that the music insists upon a particular thematic framework, the more you're allowed to flow with it no matter the mood. I think the more specific music becomes and lyrics add that element where it more defines the state of mind and the framing of your approach to it and how you experience it. And maybe with lyricless music, just instrumentals, you can feel it more, you know what I mean? And you can apply it to different situations across a spectrum of activities a little bit more easily. Damn, you can tell I just took a dab, bro. I tell you, I take a dab and get esoteric as fuck. I get metaphysical in this bitch immediately.
2 seconds.
Oh yeah, I do. Oh, that's pleasant as hell. That's pleasant as hell. Let me tell you, I need to pull up my track list so that we can talk about a few of the songs that I've been listening to recently. That Coast Contra album was pretty fucking sweet, bro. Did you get a chance to check it out? He did say to give him 2 seconds. Fucking incapable of not talking sometimes. It's 10:04 Eastern Standard Time, dude. March 26th, 2025. Time keeps passing faster and faster. Or it seems that way. I'm not the only one with the problem. It seems to be a common affliction. Natural consequence of spending too much time on this floating rock. Not that we have much of a choice. Or coming from somewhere and going somewhere else, and getting there is going to be a little bit of fun. I certainly hope. I think living's been the point the whole while. The mind focuses on positive memories because the things that we hold on to. Certainly sometimes in those moments we move away from remembering to the challenges that led us to resolution. As you listen to his stuff in the background there, as he's taking care of business or what have you, please just remember it. Living is the point. Doing
all. Okay. Voices.
Bro, are you frying steak over there, sir, number one?
No, sir. Do you hear some sizzle, my dude?
I do. Like TV static a little bit.
I wonder is that because of the I don't have anything playing right now, actually.
Is there electricity running through the thing that you've got the mic attached to?
electricity running through the stand?
Yeah.
No, because the light is not attached.
Well, what did you just do? Because now I don't hear it.
I didn't do anything.
Well, shit, now I don't hear it at all. Was it part of the fucking song? Maybe. Yeah, it sounds good now, dude. Are you ready?
Not yet, not yet. All right. I'm trying to see. So I don't know if this webcam he gave me is gonna work for streaming. But we can figure that out momentarily. I'm just gonna roll up my band here. It appears that you can only use the PlayStation camera, or what? I don't know how it is that people stream from there. How do they get their webcam overlay on top of their gameplay?
Yeah, so what you need to do is get a capture card for the PlayStation, because you're trying to do it all natively through the PlayStation, and in order to do that, you have to use all of PlayStation's proprietary equipment, and you have to do it the way that they tell you to, which makes it almost impossible to. It makes it almost impossible to do it the way that you want to do it. So what you need to do is get a capture card, and what you'll do is plug an HDMI cable, from the PlayStation into the capture card, an HDMI cable from the capture card to whatever display you're using, television or monitor. Then you'll take a USB-C cable, run it from the capture card to the computer, and it will copy over the signal from the PlayStation, and you can attach it to a stream from the computer side of things.
But I could essentially just focus my webcam on my TV.
You can always do that. Yeah. I mean, it's always an option. I mean, obviously, like, the important thing is, if you're going to do that, this is to get your shit out there, like we're doing with this, and then over time, that you can improve your setup, you can change out equipment, you can make those changes as you move forward, because ultimately you do want the direct feed in for the best experience. But yeah, just until then, just angle it, and then let your personality do the work. Shit, buddy, you're funny as hell. We're about to have a lot of fun. Hell, I've been having fun. I'm sitting here listening to whatever's on this playlist. Right, exactly, dude. I'm having a great time. I'm gonna actually switch it over to Piano Tranquility. I'm about to fall asleep in this bitch. Okay, now so I paused the music to see, and I am getting that on your end again. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's the HVAC, but now I'm not getting it. It just now stopped.
No, the HVAC is not running.
Damn. I don't know.
Okay. Let's see here.
Is the air button turned on the Scarlett?
Yes.
All right, crank that off.
Okay. I did.
What's the other button say? I forget.
Uh,
48V.
48V. Yeah.
All right, turn that off real quick.
Yeah, that wasn't even on.
All right, crank that on and the air back on. All right, turn the 48 off.
Testing one.
It just got way worse. Okay,
Better.
that's all the way better. Whatever you did just made it all better.
I just clicked the air button again.
Okay, all right. So I think that maybe the air button in combination. I mean, just crank that sensitivity down the barest bit off of all the way on, just the barest little bit.
How's not? How's that?
Perfect. I think we're good. You know, because I'm listening at a volume where I'm looking for minute sounds, and also, um, you know, when it runs through the normalization algorithm here or whatever it is, the program, it will, you know, make it sound even better and remove some noise. So I think we're going to be golden. Where are you on readiness, sir?
I'm 5 minutes out. Okay. Okay. So there's that. Let's get the phone back on the charge. Had to put the vape on there for a couple minutes. And the light is not necessary, I don't think. I'll unplug that. Alright, rolling the blunt as we speak here.
Oh, what's going in the blonde? Tell me about it, sir.
Cake dough, sir.
Oh, cake dough, sir.
Cake dough.
Oh, fuck, I would love to smell that, sir. Do you have any chewables left, sir?
No, dude, I got one tangerine left, dude, and I really like the chewables. So I'm thinking about going to another volleyball game and picking up some more.
Well, don't be shy, dude.
Yeah, cause I love the chewables.
Yeah.
They're so just on grab and go side of things, dude. And honestly, dude, I like to pop one every couple of hours. Stay in a relaxed state.
Well, if
Well, I'm
I
talking
eat
about like
one, then
dry.
I'm eating them every 2 hours until I go to bed. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, man, I remember those ones Jake hooked us up with, dude.
Those were nice little dandies, dude.
They were some nice little things.
That might have been fucked, but that was a good little run, dude.
Yeah, dude.
I remember eating those little shroomies out there and not feeling shit. But we tried, dude. We tried. And I don't think you got any good shit off the ones you took later on down the line. But, because damn, once they dry up, it's just hard. It's hard.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, dude. The struggle was. The apartment wasn't shabby, dude. It just, we didn't have the funds to get it all the way set up.
Well, I also didn't have the strength of spirit at that time in order to just lock it down. I could have leaned into it and locked it down, dude, if I'd have had the gumption, but that time wasn't then. The time is now, dude. It's the way of the road.
Yeah.
You know, I didn't have my purpose, dude. So I was kind of just trying to figure out what I could figure out for the purpose of staying alive, and that ain't the game, dude. You know, that ain't quite the game.
All right, dude. I feel as though I couldn't be more set up than I am now. I'm just gonna click this link here and chime back in on this phone. Perfect. And then what I want to do is okay, yeah, so I have it on the AirPods, so I'll just mute that. Let her
I'll just
roll.
mute that. Oh, brother. Number one.
One.
I love you, brother. Fuck.
Alright, dude, let's get it poppin', dude. Alright. Can you see me pretty good? I'm a little fire.
Oh, it's all good, dude. And let's get a mic test.
Testing one.
Testing 2, dude. Number 1.
Perfect.
All right, let's. Oh, a lictor. All right, so I'm gonna start the intro at the 50-minute mark. Let me get in the zone.
Word. Oh yeah, should I bring that back up? That screen to see.
I don't think you need
where we
to.
are.
Just just confirm that all the settings are right. All right, I think we're ready to begin to count it down. 1 minute remaining. I gotta get my ass to where it's not compressed in this motherfucking chair.
Oh yeah, dude, keep comfy, dude.
Me arse.
I'm gonna actually put a pillow on my chair now that you mentioned it, dude, because I'm gonna be here for a while.
Oh, did I tell you I got a new chair?
Oh no, dude, I saw that in the picture, but I didn't know if that was the a new or an old one, sir. How is she?
It's an old one, but it's new to me. Let me see. It's pretty comfy, dude.
Marketplace there.
No, I got it out of the Gramps, put it in the sunroom, and then I rescued it. Vault.
Word. You know what? I can actually bring the phone closer because I can put this into the PlayStation here.
Well, if you've listened for the last 50 minutes, I can only say you're a hero. But welcome to Jay and Low. We got some exciting stuff planned for the podcast today. My name's Josh. Joined
Number
by
one.
love, dude. Number one. And we're about to lay it down, dude. We're hanging out, talking about culture, society, um, everything right down the line, man. We're just gonna let it flow right through. Do you have anything to add, man?
I do not, dude. I'm excited to get this thing popping, brother.
Well, hell yeah, let's pause the music then, because it's gonna stress me out if we're listening to Mario 8-bit straight down the line.
And
I think the first topic we want to discuss is this whole government overhaul that's happening as a result of the current administration's policies on literally everything. There's a little bit of crash and burn tactic being used, and then rebuild later on. Of course, there's a human cost to get from destroying programs that have a material benefit to people's lives, and then rebuilding later on. Of course, I'm concerned about that. I think Lowe's concerned about that. I think one thing that he had mentioned um, leading up to the start of this podcast was something related to that kind of like ridiculous war on DEI shit that's going on. Can you elaborate on that, bro?
yeah, so I saw that a new order was signed in regards to the segregation, uh, which was executed by the commander in chiefs there, which was very interesting to me because that was, I believe, it was signed in by President Johnson, which was at the federal level. And I just, was browsing online and saw some people's thoughts on that. A lot of different communities feel like segregation is exactly what we need right now. Um, I think it's the thought process of, just trying to take care of your own and maybe, go into that isolated mind state of comfort. But and I don't know how much of it is true. Like I said, I didn't have time, dealing with work and stuff. I didn't have much time to dive into it. Uh, but I just thought it was an interesting topic that we should definitely touch bases on here. Let me look on World News here and see. I see an article here. Uh, is this oh, the Syracuse? Okay, not sure where.
Well, the little bit that I know about it, I'll just say that obviously, it is a sham to focus on minorities. I mean, if you want to say the black community, if you want to say immigrants, if you want to say trans people, it is a farce to say that they are, fundamentally speaking, a problem to our society. I think that essentially what we're doing is resource management of the worst kind, and it boils down to greed, right? You have people who would like to live in a system where they have absolute control over all the mechanisms of power, including the mechanisms to generate and sustain capital growth, and they are attempting to utilize whatever animosity exists towards the system itself, towards people towards one another. Those deep seated differences that are cultural and social and political and economic, and they play on that because ultimately the goal is material domination, so that they can run the world as they please. And it's not really a conspiracy; it's just greed. And sometimes when greed gets organized, it feels like it's a conspiracy. Sometimes it is one, but most of the time it is a collective push towards a world, where they would like to push out everyone, that does not fit their description of whatever in crowd that they deem suitable, or worthy, to run the world and reap the benefits of such an enterprise. I swear, dude, it is the name of the game to be in charge of the things that generate profit, and then use that profit to live how you please and squeeze everyone out. And I'm not in the business of playing that game, dude. I don't want to be engaged with it. I don't like it. I believe that the world only works when we work together. I believe we're better together. I watched the movie A Beautiful Mind, and I fucking paid attention. Game theory is real, dude. We're better off together. If a practicality is all you get, then see it that way. But let me say, there's more to it than that. There's a spiritual side to it. There's a moral side to it. There's an ethical side to it. There's a fucking human side to it. But I think that's the name of the game. They're trying to do this culture war shit as fucking theater, and it's not, because there are real consequences for human beings. Fuck them.
Yeah, yeah, you're right, bro. And what I took from it, and a lot of things that I've seen this administration do in such a short time is more than anything. I think the symbolism of it is what gets the supporters all riled up, right? When you talk about dismantling civil rights and women's rights and things that people fought for hundreds of years to get this stuff and and legislation and things like that, and then you go in there and tear it all down. What that means, and who the people I think they're speaking to is those who are afraid, right? The reality of it now is, if you look at the numbers. I mean, I think the heterosexual white male has a fear of becoming extinct, right? Because of the fact that America is so diverse right now, and you have all these interracial relationships, friendships, and there's that fear that, oh, we're not going to be on the top anymore. And you know the reality of it is, like you said, is there's not really a top that is about, there's white males, white females, uh, or whatever gender there may be, who struggle with poverty just as much as any other ethnic background. And the reality of it right now is that if you don't got the resources, um, you just become a bigger part of the fucking bottom of the food chain, dude. And so there's this hope to have a sense of identity, and people are getting all hyped up about, well, yeah, they're gonna break down, all the DEI shit, um, and some of it, I do feel that we want to have experts in these fields where that require, for example, what's going on with the FA, the FAA. You don't want to have somebody who's just hired because of affirmative action or of DEI, of women's rights, but you don't also want to undermine that these groups of people are not limited uh, because of their ethnicity to not be able to do things, um, that the next man can do, right? So a lot of that logic is the superior, superior or inferior, or the supremacy of it all, that to think that naturally, because of your pigmentation or because of where you were born or what part of the world you were born in, it could supersede. what you and I agree. What really matters is the soul, dude, the heart, the decisions you make, choosing unselfishness, and I think it's going to get worse before it gets better because the ignorance of the masses, right? There's a lot of people who just jump out at headlines and make knee jerk reactions to this stuff and say things that they don't necessarily think about before saying them. But more than anything, and as a father, this concerns me is that in our time, it may not make much of a difference, right? Because right now we know what are we, Gen Z or Gen X or whatever we are. Late 20s, early 30s. You know, the
Well,
average person is what making 40,000 a year. So everybody's hurting for cash right now.
we're
And
we're millennials, you and I,
okay,
brother.
millennials, yeah. So millennials, they got so many financial issues because right now it's all about resources, dude. It's all about do you got the scratch or do you not? And a lot of people are getting away from or placing their happiness in in the amount of resources that they have as opposed to counting their blessings, and it's a scary thing for a teenage kid or young adolescents to be facing this and to think about where will they be in their 20s and their 30s mentally, because I think a lot of our traumas, you know and this kind of falls into the mental health thing that we talked about. A lot of our traumas may be a byproduct of our circumstances, right? You grow up in this environment, you grow up in this community, and you respond to trauma in the way that you're taught to respond to it. Even if it's an unhealthy way. Um, so just imagine, in the next 20 years, what those environments will look like, uh, and how do we teach the appropriate response to trauma is what scares me the most about all this stuff. But like I said, there's so many other fish to fry. As you know, we're trying to do our thing in business and our personal lives, and we've got family members who we want to take care of. And so being overwhelmed with all that stuff, it doesn't allow you a lot of time to think about these things that could impact change, because a lot of the changes have to start within, and in that race, we're far behind, on the morality of it all, So that's my take on it. But it's scary. It's scary shit. But it's also one of those things where you like, you got to still keep moving forward, right? Like we can't just all unless there's total anarchy. We have to continue moving forward, right? We got to get up. We got to work. We got to try, for lack of a better words, to make not just America, but make the world great again. You know what I mean? Because where we're headed, dude, I wouldn't be shocked if old Mother Nature, humbled us real quick.
Oh yeah, dude, Mother Nature's gonna turn into Brother Nature real quick. Yeah, and we're like, yeah, we're sitting down for a tough talk, dude. Yeah, I'm not really interested in finding out what that's like, but what I'm ultimately concerned about is that the burden of that reckoning will fall on our children, our grandchildren, our great grandchildren, and they might be left a world that there are so few opportunities in because we squandered ours, and we bastardized the multiplicative nature of what we could achieve, and burned it all up on hedonism and nonsense and infighting and bullshit. and we didn't get to the place that we needed to get in order to make the world sustainable for the long term. I believe that, even if you don't engage with the idea that we're making the world warmer via climate change, which, I mean, hell, I don't know what to tell you at that point. Then you must understand that pollution by itself just creates dirt. I mean, we're polluting the world in ways that I don't think we fully understand the consequences of. And people will say, "Well, yes, the world will be all right," and I do fully agree. But will we be all right in it? Is the question. I mean, I think we make the world hostile to our own survival by not considering the consequences of our actions as a society. There are certain things that you need to do on an individual basis. You need to pursue love and education and development and actualization. You need to pursue community and foster relationships. What you don't need to do is send microplastics all over the world because you want to set up some kind of manufacturing shit. You know, but you say that's not something an individual does. That's something a corporation does, and a corporation is different than an individual. Corporation has a fiduciary responsibility to its shareholders. A corporation is a money making engine. It's a machine dedicated to the singular purpose of achieving profit. And as a result of what we've done and where we've become, that's become the be all end all of the goal of being a person. Now seems to be in the pop culture sense to get as rich as you can get, and that kind of value setting leads to a road where we're all racing to the bottom. You cannot you cannot live in this kind of world where, you know, when you're trying to achieve something, you think that the only way to get there is through amassing cash. We're developing a system where humanity is going to get squeezed out in favor of profit, and I don't think we're going to like that we built that particular machine, my friend.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more, bro. I mean, look at Musk, right? And we talked about, the traction he's making with the power he has right now, and it is significant power. I mean, he's got these companies, and these companies are a huge part of the culture, right? And that allows him to have this big influence on the public and the discourse of the public. And it's not just a financial thing with him because he's made himself a symbol, for these things in a sense, when he's uh, trying to, and I think what he wants to do with free speech, um, it's not totally a bad thing. I think speech should be free, but the tactics of how he's doing it and the way he's using wealth and the control of this technology to basically force uh, and shape public opinion is kind of wild, dude. It seems like we're living in a fucking video game, which is like kind of scary because this ain't no fucking video game, bro. This is real fucking life. So what happened with the leak on this app that you sent me? I did get that. I wasn't hip to that app, but what's going on with that?
What do you mean the leak?
From the Pentagon, yeah.
Oh, the so Pete Hegseth, who is the Secretary of Defense, laughably, um, was having conversation. I think several of his, Department of Defense people, advisors to the president, they were having a conversation on Signal, which is an app that, it's a communication app like Telegram or whatever. It's supposed to be encrypted. Well, the government has policies to not use private messaging services of any kind. Of course, they neglected to care about that. But they accidentally added a journalist to the group chat. I think he was the editor or some editor at the New York Post, uh,
Ah,
and so he's getting group chats about this is when the F-16s are gonna depart to bomb Yemen. Like this is the schedule. It was
oh
all
my
laid
God.
out in a fucking signal chat, and it's like
Oh, fuck.
that's what
So wait a minute. He's leaking military intelligence on a fucking app that's not even uh, ran by the government. That's pretty sketch.
oh dude, I mean,
Because what if
I
those
don't
what if
know.
those were our enemies?
I think what's sketch is they're talking casual, all casual, like about political maneuvers, while also discussing, they're talking about how to get the American public on board with a bombing campaign.
Hmm.
Yeah, this is just. I mean, I know that these conversations happen. I know that there is an agenda in every administration, but this is not excellent to see. It's careless, whether it was staged or not. Let me say that I do sincerely believe that they are incompetent enough to have done it by accident and sinister enough to have plotted to release this on purpose just to say, fuck you. We do what we want type shit. I
Yeah.
don't necessarily approve of any of the actions that they're engaged in because at least 90% of what they do is meant to be a middle finger to people they don't like. They're in the business now of running the country, not of feeling superior and being satisfied with being in charge, which is what they're doing.
Right.
Their actions are designed to make them feel like, hell, I'm glad I won, and fuck the people who lost. They're shitty people, and then let's run it up and play on their insecurities and make them feel like shit and shove it in their face that America said that they were wrong. It's like, goddamn, dude. I mean, if you felt like that's what Biden did, then that's a goddamn shame. And liberals do too much shaming, but that's not the game. I mean, this has gotten so out of control on the you know, absolute disregard that people have for human life. Uh, they disregard the truth as it's generally seen in favor of whatever reality they've constructed in their own heads to satisfy the fact that they feel bad about their life. It's classic bully shit, and it makes me feel bad that our politics has descended to this level. But god damn it, if that game has not always been a race to the bottom. So I don't know. We need some people
Yeah.
who only care about doing the right thing because it's worth doing. And we need some people that only care about running the government because they want people to live well. We need that.
And I'm just thinking when you said that. Uh, I think it's time to. Um, I think it's time to start sharing playbooks. You know what I mean? Like, there's a there's this idea, and I'm sure every individual can uh, confirm what I'm saying based on their own experience. But so, you know, although you and I are very close, I mean, we're brothers, and we may not be brothers by blood, but we're very close friends, and we come from like two separate backgrounds, two separate worlds. And if you were to look at that world, just imagine, our lives being a book. If you got to chapter one, chapter two, you would never think uh, our stories would cross paths, down the line. And it's because there's no sharing of information, right? We talked about this in some of our conversations before. I don't know if it was on the last pod, but the fear thing, right? The fear of the unknown. And so when with this leak, it kind of feels like, by the time you hear the bullet, you know what I mean, you hear the shot, you're already hit. So it kind of feels like, boom, this comes out, right? But what
Oh,
about all the shit that doesn't come out? The shit that they're like, we're not ready for this to come
that's
out,
really
or
disappointing.
somebody kills somebody, and they're like, this can never come out. You know what I mean? Like that shit never comes out. We don't hear about that shit. We don't hear nothing about the fucking Nickelodeon, fucking Predator Island until we're all invested into it. So now,
Until we've been having our kids watch Nickelodeon for 10 years, and we found out Dan Schneider's been walking around taking feet pics the whole goddamn time. Yeah, that's not very La Vida Loca, bro. Yeah,
right,
these
and
guys,
so this
Sebastian
information.
and Ariel have joined up, bro. Just to let you know, hey guys.
Oh, is that the chatter right here? Hello, 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 friends.
Hello. I'm so sorry. I thought we were muted.
Oh no, you're fine. You're fine.
We haven't heard you talking at all. If you did you mean to be muted?
I did. I was having a conversation with Ariel about some non podcast related things. So I did
Okay.
intentionally mute us, but I apologize if you did hear that chatter.
Yeah, we didn't hear words. We just, I did hear some feed that I wasn't hearing before. But go ahead and finish your combo, and then join us when you're ready.
Absolutely. Would love to do that. Thank
Here, I'll
Word.
put you on mute, brother. I'll fix it. All right, there we go. He did it. All right, dude. Yeah,
But yeah, the leak. I feel like there is, and I don't know if this is your experience, but when you're growing up and you always just feel like, you feel that eeriness of like, you know what I mean? Or you see some shit where it's like, damn, you see your mom or your aunt or, your uncle or your dad go through something that isn't necessarily fair. And then you realize, oh, we're fucked. You know what I mean? Like
mhm. Oh yeah.
the one person, when you're born into this world, you feel like your parents are your protectors. They're your, you know what I mean? They're your heroes. And so because you're a little shit, it's not your obligation to be concerned about, you know what I mean, all the fuckery that's going on. But sometimes as a child, you may reach some trauma and you may see
I
that.
was deeply concerned about the fuckery that was going on, dude.
You know what I
At
mean? And
about
you like,
age
oh,
at
you
about
were like,
age
what the
5 or 6,
fuck?
I opened my eyes and I said, "God damn, this is some deeply concerning shit." I said, "You know what? I might need to fucking tune in a little bit and lock the fuck in." And
Right.
I think too though that like there's a situation where we never thought our paths would collide, but the reason that they may have done, and the reason that I think that the paths tend to collide in ways that ultimately develop the consequence of a meaningful relationship. A lot of that comes from this idea is like, are you truly connected with the world? And you can talk about being genuine and you can talk about authenticity, but you can also feel that. I mean, it's the same thing when you listen to music and you kind of, you feel that vibration running through your body. And some people just genuinely don't feel that, dude. They don't, I don't know what it is. I don't know how to describe it. There's a lack of connection. I don't think it runs deep all the way through. I think that uh, there is some part of them that still feels that, but like, sometimes, dude, when you hear it and you connect it to the world around you and you feel it move through you and whatever it is, or you want to call it a vibration, you want to call it the fabric of reality bending and shaping around you, and you might feel it particularly in one moment more than another, but there are people that are connected to the world, and then there are people that feel like maybe they're just play acting, and they feel like maybe it's just all a video game, and they feel like and religion can provide that form of pseudo spirituality and perception to people such that they feel like This is all just kind of some fun little game where they have to run around and check all the boxes before they get eternity in heaven, dude. Or if they don't quite check enough boxes, then they get to spend eternity in hell. And boy, oh boy, that's really all they're doing and having some fun along the way. And that kind of shit, even if it's only a superficial, um, tool that they use, in the form of a delusion to make themselves more comfortable with being a person, it's hard to connect with folks like that. And certainly they shouldn't be responsible for society. They often are. I think a lot of those people are in society right now. I mean, you have everything down from the hedonist who is only after pleasure, and some people find that pleasure in power, right down to the people who are just greedy or whatever. But there are people that are connected with the world, and there are people that are not. And I don't want to say that any time spent is a waste of time, but the time that we spend with people that genuinely are willing to connect with you because they're not so closed off to anything that they're unable to see some kind of truth, that time is more well spent, in my opinion.
And I think that's probably how we break it, bro. Uh, because it's like, all right, there's laws, all right, laws of nature, and we as humans, we're just a fucking speck, dude. We're not as fucking neat as we think we are. We made all this livable comfort. You know what I mean? So we're not out there scratching ass in the woods. You know what I mean? And there may be a price to pay for that. You know what I mean? When you talk
I think
about
there's
having a
certainly a
society,
price to pay for
yeah,
that. Yeah, know
it's
what?
like when you want to have a society, you're gonna create these things, right? That's going to uh, alter the nature of emotion or the law of emotion, where it's just like, okay, you can. The reason why I think our pod is going to be so fucking helpful, dude, is because we're not saying, you know, um, are we revolutionaries, bro? Yeah, I think we are, but I think the meaning of a revolutionary could change, right?
Just
Obviously, we're
just
not
fucking
trying
hear
to.
us out, dude.
Yeah, we're not
Just
trying to
just
go
fuck.
out there and like
You can
get
hear me
taken
out.
out. Yeah, we're not trying to get taken out, bro.
I'm
But what
not.
we
I'm not
are,
trying to Che Guevara this motherfucker. When he died, they cut his body parts up into a bunch of pieces and took them so there wouldn't be a single grave for him. That's how much he meant to those people. Now listen, I love y'all, but I ain't trying to end up in 37 different locations. You know what I mean?
well, yeah, well, my body, do with my body what you will, but I would prefer, I prefer the ashes to ashes, to dust, dude. It just sounds good, but when you think about it all, right, it's like, this is not us. This is not the like. I don't even think we're peaking on the astral plane. Like, yeah, this is really neat, and we get to be here, and we get to enjoy this experience with one another. Um, but then, when everything is over, right, we have to sit with ourselves. You know what I mean? And that's where the work really starts. It's just like when you gotta, not with your lover or your companion, because companionship is great, right? But you got to work on yourself more than anything. And I think we just haven't made people haven't made that cool enough, right? There's not because we determine what's cool. If everybody says, you know what, we don't like that anymore, and that's what I think is going on with the strings and the puppet shit that's going on is they figured out how to pull those strings, and what it doesn't matter what you and I think in a sense to them because we are the masses, right? And the masses is what you need to kind of work a society and all that jazz. But we're more powerful, by mastering self, I think, than the masses because a lot of them are, running around and we're making these decisions to choosing to hurt, each other because we're hurting.
Yeah.
And
Well, here's the
and
beautiful thing. Sorry, go ahead.
no, yeah, that's what I'm saying. So I was like, doing the work is what we're trying to tell motherfuckers is like do the work. So yeah, in one aspect, it doesn't even fucking matter what they do with the government, with the economy, because they, that evil or whatever you want to call it, the nonsense is is not more powerful than the suffering of love. You know what I mean? So it's like, can they
Well,
beat
certainly
us? It'll
not.
hurt. It'll hurt.
No. Well,
It'll
that's what
hurt.
I'm concerned about. And that's what I said at the outset, right? Is like, I believe that love will win out. I'm concerned about the human cost of getting from where we are to where we need to be. I think this is the beautiful thing, though, about what you said about the nature of our spirit and whatever direction we may be headed to, collectively as humanity. I think we're on the upstoot because, in general, I think the most important thing you can do is education. And I think too that if you're going to teach someone to be a good person or you're going to teach someone how to think, on balance, you better teach someone how to think because the good person stuff becomes a logical outcome at a certain point. If there is not a foundation of greed, of that pure avarice that leads people to pursue wealth, to any end, right? Or, a true sociopathy or some misalignment of spirit, if you truly educate people on what it means to be a human person and what it means to exist in this world and about the world that they occupy, about the nature of their reality, you teach them to learn and to care for learning in a way that satisfies their natural curiosity. Eventually that person learns to get along with others by default. Relationships form, and in a way that's part of education. People see the virtue of community. There is a learning curve, but that's where to start. The most important thing, the reason why we're doing this very podcast, dude, is just to say let's talk about it. Well, let's talk about it. Let's hear what people have to say. Let's find out where the consensus is and find a way to move it by 1% because we're not on a scale really of 50 years or 10 years or 5 years or 500 years. I mean, we've got the opportunity here, universe willing that we don't, get an asteroid to the motherfucking teeth. We've got a chance to build something out here from the ground up and take our time with it and care about one another in a way that transcends generations. That will be the beginning of something. When in that old saying, it's already from antiquity, right? It is already something that the ancients considered. When old men plant trees whose shade they know they'll never stand in, to care for something collectively that we'll never see because that's the spirit stuff, dude. We have to care about it without being able to eat mac and cheese and smoke weed and fucking do the fucking we want to do and the loving we want to do and and take a decent shit in the morning and feel that satisfaction. We got to do some stuff for some people and not get to see the consequences of those actions, though they be so fantastic.
Do you think that I mean I know some of your thoughts on this, but how much power do you think if we dived into the Da Vinci Code of this fucking manifestation, right? When you said, let's get out there, let's talk about it. And I think the reason we must, and we know we must, is because I think in silence we can't create. You know, you don't have the power to know what I'm thinking until I manifest my thoughts and speak it to you. And so that's the gift, like you said. It's like, what the fuck you mean you want to be a good person? Well, if you want to be a good person, you have to respect it. Respect the fact that you're a person. Do you want to even be a person? If you don't want to be a person, um, then I think that's why a lot of people give up, because there's just like being a person is too much in a sense of your spirit or your soul or whatever. It's kind of beneath you. You know what I mean? To even take that form, because you know the pain that comes with it. You know what I mean?
Well,
But
I view complexity as this situation where you go to complexity when the simple answer no longer makes sense. You live with complexity and you work through complexity until you're able to generate another simple answer that makes sense. When that stops making sense, you've got to do that again. Complexity is beautiful and I enjoy it very much, but it can get real simple real fast. Do you want to be a person or do you not? Part of this thing is part of this thing is being social. Part
yeah,
of this thing is loving people. You're not going to feel like you're worthwhile until you consider that a reality. You're not going to feel like the things you do have meaning until you consider that your life has worth. If you're not going to get there, then you're not going to get there. But I believe that it's never too late. I believe that, if I catch you now in 10 years or in 37 lifetimes, I believe you've got a chance to think about something in a different way and to offer yourself that growth, because, that kind of thing can be shown to you, but it cannot be offered to you. It can't be bought or sold or traded, and you can't gather enough gold to get a hold of it.
the glitz,
You
dude.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Glitz, the
You got to
glamour.
do different
That's
shit.
that's what they've done, dude. That's what they've done. And and I fall to it. I get in the lab rat phase where and it's like, I know the McDonald's isn't good for me, but I'm just like, you know what I mean? Do I
That
do I
what?
want to be? You know what I mean? Do I have it in me to get up and make me a nice cheeseburger or whatever I could prepare for myself that's more healthy, that may prolong my life? But they play on all these things with the advertisement. You know what I mean? And so I think to combat it, that's all we could do is, what I mean, is to speak up, even when we know it's probably not in our best interest to at the time. I think we still must speak up. So that's what you said about education. That's the you hit the nail on the head, bro. People don't know how to handle these complex situations. They don't know how to view it because we're not teaching emotional intelligence. All we're teaching is cash. And you know what I mean? Cash is key, and that creates something that is our human. I think that's a part of us. That animal in us was like, oh fuck, oh this is it. This is how I, what I mean, get that comfortability that I want, or that I've kind of got. What I mean, some of the pleasures, right? You think about the pleasures, and I enjoy them all. But I enjoy the education more than anything, because it allows creative thinking where you can learn something from a person who's probably never, haven't lived half the time you lived, but you can learn from them. That's the beauty in learning. But we definitely have to make education cool again, because it's not cool to be smart or go to school or get credentials, because you don't have to necessarily have to do that to make money, and the money gets you the power, and the power gets you the bitches, dude. And who
Well,
doesn't want the bitches?
well,
Like, everybody wants the bitches. That's why I keep telling you though, like the we could shift this shit through the love, but the bitches don't want the the person who kind of necessarily
that goes back to
doesn't
the
have the
root of it
money,
all.
bro.
Well, we teach kids how to do all kinds of things. We don't teach much of the whys and wherefores. And I'll tell you something else, dude. Those same young people that are learning to want money, well, what are those young women learning? Those young women are in there learning about how everything's about money. So when they go look for a partner, what are they looking for? I mean, you're kind of like there's kind of a big mirror to help be held up to all this shit. It's like, well, where does the root of the whole problem go? Well, down deep. It goes way down deep to where we're caring about stuff more than we're caring about life, and life's the point. We're not carrying any of this shit with us to our grave. I'm not going to pack up my iPhone and say, "All right, buddy, close her down." You know what I mean? Nail her shut. I'm off to scroll TikTok for the next 50,000. That ain't the way it's going to go. And
But
we
this,
care about this shit so much, but why do you really care about an iPhone? Even if you're watching TikTok, you're connecting with people. You're watching the things that they've created. You're engaging with ideas that other people have come up with or experiences that they've had or shit that they've made. It's a real not to crack this idea that material reality is the thing, but it's also not the thing. And I think that's the nugget of manifestation too. You can't want something for the sake of wanting it. You've got to want it for the sake of something else and then not be too upset about how it turns out. It's like being upset about what it looks like, I think, is 90% of human dissatisfaction when material needs are met. We're upset about what shit looks like. You want a mountain of gold in your back pocket? Go give your son a fucking hug. See what you feel like. I don't know.
yeah,
Uh, you know, you're not looking. Do you want to be rich or do you want to be happy? Because they're not necessarily the same thing. Do you want to be right and feel superior and have a better car than that neighbor guy you don't like, or do you want to have a life worth living? Ask those questions. Ask them to yourself. Ask them to your neighbor. You
yeah,
know, that's where we're going to get somewhere when people realize that the shit that they're aiming for, I mean, we may not always hit the mark as human beings, but the shit we're aiming for ain't even right.
yeah. Hey, what you give up for Lent, my dude?
Hey, boys.
Nutella, dog. I'm ready to play
Nutella?
some Fortnite, dude. Are you guys ready to play some Fortnite?
Are you guys ready to rock some fucking tops?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
What?
Sorry, I didn't really know where to jump in. I didn't want to interrupt, but I ended up having to interrupt, so I apologize for that.
I love
Pardon
it,
the
dude. I was
interruption.
waiting for it. You know what?
No, we talking about we about to talk about Lent and shit, and well, not and shit, but Lent and sacrifice, right? I don't know. I grew up religious, and then as I got older, I kind of switched over to becoming like a non a spiritual person with no I was able to see through all the cracks. But is Lent something that they practice in? Is this a Catholic thing or what? You know what I mean? Because in the
Oh
Black
yeah, dude.
Church, we don't really do Lent. I mean, there is some fasting, but we really didn't do Lent. Like we was eating fried chicken after every service, my dude. But I've seen people come in the restaurant in Escobar, and it was like a huge fish week, like a couple weeks ago. But I do know that it's about sacrifice, and I know you wanted to talk about the symbolic sacrifice versus real sacrifice, which is an interesting topic to say the least.
Yeah, I mean, I think that with all things being equal, we can reclaim these symbols from religion that has so clearly twisted a lot of them. Now, not to say that there aren't practitioners who use it for its intended purpose, but Lent is a symbolic sacrifice, and it is Catholic, and Lent is the period that precedes Easter. And they're in mourning, for the death of Christ, and in His remembrance, they give up something, hey, that they enjoy, whatever it might be. Traditionally, also meat is not eaten on Fridays. Before, it wasn't eaten during all of Lent, and only fish was eaten. Christ was eater of fish, as we know.
Yep.
you know. But there is that symbolic nature to sacrifice that serves as a reminder for the individual. Certainly can be a point of coming together for the community. I invited you to the Fortnite lobby, Lo, by the way. Um,
I did too.
No, very good.
word.
Okay, now pause that for a second because I'm gonna have to switch my headset back to the PlayStation, Sharon.
So what I would do on the computer side of things is switch the output to the computer mic, turn the volume all the way down, make sure the microphone setting is still on the Scarlet, and then you know plug your USB stick into the PS4. You should be good. And then what we can do for you to be able to hear us is um, either you can put a AirPod in and log in on the app, or I can unmute myself on the FaceTime call.
Um, Wait, did our friends join the pod or are they on the call?
They're on the pod, bro.
Okay, because I don't see that it's not updated on my screen here. All right,
Word.
well
I think. Well, I'm
let's
the
finish the
host. I
pod.
probably.
All right, let's finish the pod. I'm gonna play a couple matches because I have visuals. It's just I won't
Yeah.
be able to hear comms necessarily, but you guys can hear me if shit gets sticky.
Well, I'm saying if you just want to not listen to visuals on the game, everybody's in here. You got guys sound off for a second if you can.
Mute myself.
One, no,
No,
just give me a
no.
number one.
Number one.
One. I don't hear Ariel. I hear Seb though.
Ariel didn't say anything. That's why.
Number one. One. All right, it looks like we're golden. Okay, so they would now they would give this up just for that time, and then they would, you could eat meat as regular after the
Right. I mean,
Passover.
you've heard of Mardi Gras, right?
Yeah, yeah, where they show their breasts and you give them beats.
Right. Well, Mardi Gras is tied into the whole deal. Part of that, they call it Fat Tuesday, but down south, they got different words for things. You know how it goes.
Yeah, I'm from the
But
Midlands, as you know, so I don't. All I know is titties and beats.
right. Well, that's Mardi Gras is a manifestation of what Catholics called Fat Tuesday, which is the celebration before Lent starts, where you kind of hog out a little bit.
Okay,
You
you
know.
basically eat all the lamb and sheep you can eat
Right. Right. Exactly.
before it's time to give up meat for what, the next 2 weeks, or how long is it? How long does that last?
I don't know, dude. It's. I mean, when's Easter? Like April what? Like 20th or something.
Oh yeah,
Right.
around that
Right.
time.
So yeah,
So is that
and
like a month then, or
it's
45 days?
so yeah, something like that. Something like 45 days or
Okay, so
50 days.
it ties in a little bit to Ramadan, I guess. Then.
It's kind of the same idea. I mean, obviously, like when we talk about these, like Islam and Christianity and Judaism, they do call them the religions of the book because they share, the fundamental testament, or like the books of the Old Testament. A lot of that is shared literature. Like for example, the
Late drop, boys.
word.
Hurt.
The Talmud has the Pentateuch, which is the first five books of the Bible, but obviously in a different form. The Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, Deuteronomy. So
Right.
there's a lot of shared culture there, a lot of shared practices, which is why I've never understood why people don't get along. It's like Jesus, dude.
So how do we go from fasting to pagan Easter bunnies and pedophilia to chocolate candies and all this corporation stuff instead of doing what we should actually be doing is giving up vaping or whatever this I guess it's a vice, symbolism of it is just giving up a vice, or something that's
No, well, that's the thing, right? And that's maybe that's the nugget of what I wanted to speak on today was the difference between that symbolism and how, I mean, obviously, right, you get to a place with symbolism where, oh, well, do I give up something that's really meaningful to me, or do I just do it as play acting? And then so it has to come down to, well, it's something for you anyway, because it doesn't really, it has to be just something for you anyway. The only point was, if you're not going to be serious about it, if you're not going to be genuine about it, then maybe there's no point to it at all. Or you're just doing it to be part of your group or whatever. If it's not something that's important, then the symbol loses its power. I think that the real rub of what we're getting to here is to say that real sacrifice means something different, and I think that people often look to martyrdom, but I don't know necessarily if that's real sacrifice either. I do think symbols can be powerful. I think sometimes martyrdom is very real. It just depends, and I think part of that is this material consequence. It's like, are the things that you're doing and the sacrifice that you're making, is it having a real impact in the world around you? And if it isn't, does it still function as a symbol? And if not, then what are we even doing? I mean, I think that if you can be serious about that conversation and you can care about how it connects to the world, then then we're cooking with peanut oil, dude.
Well, yeah, no, you cook it with motherfucking fish grease because you gotta tell it like a TI is. Right? You ain't gonna know nothing about no real sacrifice until you go through it, right? And when you go through it and you go through it time and time and again, the reality is it's painful. And it's not gonna happen when everybody's watching and you're not gonna always have support. Um, it's gonna be something like we were saying earlier that you experience alone. And sometimes you enjoy the pain of all that, and sometimes you be like, it's not worth that. Uh, but I think we determine, or we can set the trend, if that's what you would call it, on what should be, what that means. Yeah, a lot of our symbols from, I think, ancient time has been destroyed because we got so comfortable with these amenities. You know what I mean? These things that don't take time and they don't take dedication to accomplish because we did advance so far and we always crave that movement, right? We're not going to sit and do something the same way, the same time, all the time because this is going to bore us and to the point of wanting to fucking blow our brains out. So we're going to keep moving, and as we do that, we get away from that because I think the farther you get away from it is really like the closer you get back to it. So it's like, fuck. Will I remember you guys when they kill us all or when we all die? Probably so, dude. If we take form in another life, yeah, and knowing that it gives me comfort in not being too worried about too much shit because
Listen
I
for the
think it'll
number
all
one,
work out.
dude.
It'll
Just
all work out.
listen for the number one.
It'll all work out, dude. Uh, but yeah, in the black church, we would fast like twice a year, but the kids didn't have to do it, and you know what I mean. Some now I've seen some like genuine people who I felt like were good people, just beautiful people, and they dove into religion so much, or I think like sometimes how like sometimes good people do want to do their best and they get involved into something that they know that they could just put their all into kind of blindly. And so there were some people I know who dived into all of it and was fasting, uh giving up the food or whatever. But I think you're right, the real sacrifice is the real work. And when you start like going out and making real change that doesn't really involve criticizing people or trying to separate one another. That's why if this is a story, this Lent is a story of Jesus. The one thing I did always love about his story is like, you know, he was like never uh, on some like people made him like self righteous, but he really was just chilling though. Like all these motherfuckers who try to be preaching the hell right now. Um, I don't think that's necessarily what that story. I mean, I didn't. When every time I heard about him, he was never just like fuck you because you know what I mean, we're better than you. You know what I mean? He never used his power and just fucking made a motherfucker drop dead or, you know, made a motherfucker hate themselves. You know what I mean? Like, if he felt like what you was doing was wrong, he just say that and, you know, ask you to do better. You know what I mean? But he was supposedly hanging out with, like, you know, all the bad people, right? So that's my thoughts on it, the shit about Easter with the Lent. I would love to give up vaping, you know, probably or something like that, just on some healthy shit. But I do feel like you know, our friend group, we do sacrifice. I mean, every day, dude. They're just trying to be better for each other and for ourselves. But I think we definitely got to do more of the spreading the good word, my dude, on this education, especially the emotional intelligence shit. That's why I love what you and Seb do, and I want to kind of use that more, maybe from like you know our us doing our own thing because obviously that's not what society wants. Is I don't think they want a lot of people to get better and to get this emotional intelligence and you know recognize, hey, this is what I'm doing wrong. Uh, you know, and this is what I could do, at least with others. And if you sometimes it's hard to love yourself, right? But we're not doing enough of you know teaching to hey, even when you don't feel your best, don't fucking shit on you know shit on the next person. You know what I mean? Because it's just not cool, dude. What's cool is the power, which is you know our biggest. I don't want to say enemy because I know this pod is gonna be public, but we're definitely not for that fuckery, dude. We're not for that bullshit. And identifying the bullshit, I think, is easier than people think, right? Because usually when it feels kind of fucked up, dude, it's kind of fucked up. You know what I mean? Like what a person loves and what they you know what they like and who they choose to be around shouldn't be a reason for a person to or you know the color of a person's skin or a person's weight. It shouldn't be it shouldn't be a reason enough to be an asshole. Uh, and it makes us look like more assholes by not you know fucking holding those motherfuckers who do that shit accountable. You know what I mean? So that's why sometimes I do feel like an asshole. Because I'll be like, damn, bro, like you know, we should be pushing back, but I also know, like, fuck, if we push too hard, we're also fucked. So it's finding the right push, dude. Finding the right push, dude.
100%, dude. I mean, Jesus said love each other, and that pissed a lot of people off. I mean, that really, I mean, that really got under some
Yeah.
skins. And
Or only love these motherfuckers.
right, yeah, and to me, I mean, like I say, that's the make it simple versus make it easy thing. But you keep dying, what happened to you?
Oh, dude. My sound, I'm kind of, my game is a little off because of my sound. But um, I wanted to ask you, dude, do you know what a Milwaukee margarita is?
No, sir.
Have you ever had one?
What is
Dude,
it?
if I'd had one, I'd know what it is. I promise you.
No, I was thinking about music, and I was one of those lyrics from Leon's song was Milwaukee margaritas, dude.
Shit, no. What is
And
it?
apparently it's a thing, dude. I guess it's a Milwaukee thing, dude. Let's check her out, dude. I saw some shit about it on TikTok, but when you listen to music, do you dive into like the full? Do you enjoy music with the lyrics, the songwriting, more, or is there a balance? Because obviously you can enjoy listening to music without lyrics, and I feel like music is like something. It's just all about the mood, right? It's just kind of like food. You might not want to eat tacos every single day, and
Do you know
sometimes
that
you want to
new
listen to music.
hashtag?
Where we
What is
going?
that?
Towards the pink marker.
Wine.
Oh yeah, hell yeah.
Wine.
You know, that therapy in music where it's like, all right, this is my mood, this is the kind of vibes I want to listen to, or, you know, this might turn me off musically. But then there's some music where you like, I can listen to this shit when I'm pissed, you know what I mean, when I'm feeling good, um, in all moods. And that, you know, that shit is rare.
Oh yeah. I
Depending
mean,
on
I
what your
agree.
taste is, right? Because I know everybody hears things differently. Um, and that's why I'm also excited for us to actually be able to get in the studio, be it, you know, both of us doing artistry or, you know, some engineering, because, you know, you and I might hear something totally different. Um, and that's why I love lyrics, because even in spite of the sound or whatever is coming out, the note, the perfect pitch that might give you the goosebumps as well, the lyrics should be, you know, what they are. Uh, or whatever, I guess you can adapt the words and make them mean what they mean to you in some aspects of music, right? When you some of those songs, if you just come on that bitch and just raging, there's not a lot of lyrics, but it's just like fuck, 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 fuck,
Well,
and you're like,
they're
yeah, fuck.
very, yeah, there are varying degrees to that, dude. I mean, I think that's the beauty of it, right? Is like each different person may have a song, you know, maybe they may treat a song differently. Maybe for them, it's something that gives them a particular experience where it hypes them up or it makes them nostalgic or what have you. And someone else may have an entirely different experience with the same song, although, you know, there is some generalization there. I think that a specific song for a specific circumstance is like, I mean, that's such a personal exploration, and it's very like a very beautiful sentiment because each song it kind of
$1
belongs
marker
to
wood.
each of us. Oh yeah.
Dude, what if Lucifer cracked the code and was like, I can control every human being with music, dude?
Well, I'd rather work for him, dude. To be perfectly honest, I mean, if that's the shit he's on, I know
It's
whose
pretty
team I'm
sinister,
fighting
right?
for.
But it's pretty fucking. It's like, damn. A nice playlist, dude. You ever just put a playlist on in the quiet room and everybody just start vibing to your jam and you're like, fuck yeah, dude. Shit is orgasmic, dude. That people
I've had
like
that
the music you
experience
like.
with you, dude. Back and forth, dude.
You're like, fuck. It's the universal language, dude. I haven't heard any new music. I've really been fucking with Alex Isley. Um, but you know me, dude. The oldies are always the goodies, dude. I do have some
Wait,
oldies that I think would be beautiful for you to listen to.
wait, right there for a second. Wait a second. There, I saved that for you.
I don't know, brother.
There's no. Yeah,
Aretha Franklin, dude. Share your love with me, dude.
Oh, Aretha Franklin. I mean, I do that all day long.
She's probably my aunt, dude. Like, she has to be, dude. There's not that many people in Detroit, dude, who are in music. Well, it is, but they're all cousins, dude. She's probably
I don't
my aunt,
actually
dude.
like the. Yes,
Oh, I wish I could have met Aretha, dude. But I felt like I met her through her music, you know?
I
There's a
am.
bunch of people over here. A lot of people. We can get in the car and go to Circle. Like,
We're getting this pumping up really quick.
Pumping and dumping.
I know. You have a vehicle
All right,
coming.
I'm gonna turn my volume all the way down on the laptop, and I'm switching over.
all
Oh,
right, sounds good. I mean, I think we could bring the podcast to a close at any time we like. We've covered a great deal today. I feel good about it, dude.
Oh, shield bubble baby.
Yeah. Let's just get hyped. Fuck fighting all these assholes.
Yeah, I can't hear you in the pod, bro.
Yeah. Can you?
But I
Do you
am
need to
on
hear
the
me in the call?
comms now.
Do we just want to switch to a FaceTime? Are you guys done with the pod?
But I want to end this. I want to wrap this up by saying this was a good pod. We definitely tackled some things that I think are important. I hope people are listening. Um, and as always, peace and love.
What?
I'm a lot.